Hi, I'm Peter Birch and welcome to my channel. Today guys, I think we're going to talk about Bluetongues. That's right, Bluetongue lizards, one of my all-time favorite skinks. If you're new to my channel guys, thank you so much for finding me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification button to continue to join the adventure. For everyone else, let's get stuck into it guys. Let's go and check out some awesome Bluetongue lizards. Alright, now Bluetongue lizards would have to be one of my favourite lizards of all time. Now, one of my greatest memories when I was much younger, much younger, basically when I was at preschool, was sitting in a sand pit and finding myself a Bluetongue lizard. And basically we lived in, well, western New South Wales, and you can imagine my surprise when I found this big thing. And of course I was told to drop it because it's a snake, it's dangerous, but that's not the truth. And in fact, Bluetongue lizards are probably the most awesome animals of all time to have as a pet. You know, they're small, they're robust, they're durable, and they're strong and tedious animals. And they really have great temperaments, really. Now, first of all, we're going to have a check out on my, basically the blotched Bluetongues. I've got them outside, as you can see, the outside enclosures here. I've got them outside, and it's getting pretty cold here at the moment in the winter. Now, Bluetongue lizards are pretty tolerant of their conditions wherever they are found throughout Australia. Now, saying that, we've got to remember the types of Bluetongues that we're keeping in certain areas. Now, it gets down to about 4 degrees Celsius and can even get lower here where I am on the Central Coast. And where these particular blotched Bluetongues come from, they're alpine blotched Bluetongues. So, therefore, they come from the Katoomba area up where it snows. So you can imagine these guys are going to be pretty tolerant when it comes to cold conditions. Now, as you can see, I've got a nice big amount of bedding here. That bedding there helps them, gives them some security. So basically they burrow right down the bottom there, and they curl up into a ball, and basically they don't move for quite some time. They're basically putting themselves into a hibernation state. So hibernation, brumation is a very hot topic, I guess, at the moment. So basically these guys are slowing down their metabolism, putting themselves into basically a sleep, and that sleep will last a couple of months. Now, the cool thing about that, obviously, is I'm not going to have to feed them, I'm not going to have to clean them, but more importantly, I'm going to need to check on them more regularly to make sure that they're nice and happy. We don't want them to start getting sticky eyes, sticky mouths, and all these other horrible things that can happen. Now, I've also got some old eastern Bluetongue lizards. That's right, and when I say old, I mean old. Now, these particular guys this year had babies, and at 27 years of age, that's a pretty cool achievement. But the thing is, they can live much longer than that. In fact, I've heard of people keeping up to 35 plus years with these Bluetongue lizards. Absolutely amazing. Now, these guys had 15 babies, and they're outside also. But what I've done is I've actually used one of these Zoomed Habitat heaters. Now, the reason why I've used one of these habitat heaters outside is because I'm just feeling a little bit generous. They're older animals, and I just want to take a little bit more care of them. And you can see they're underneath the heat pad. So basically it gives off heat downwards and upwards. And more importantly, they can get underneath there, feel very secure. And we can't put any bedding on top because, you know, we don't want any problems with any heat issues now. It could cause a bit of a big problem indeed. So eastern Bluetongues are found outside in this area. I have found them before, so we can keep them outside. And in fact, Charlie and Buffhead, that's the two older Bluetongues, have lived outside for many years with no problems at all. So now we're coming in from the rainforest into my facility, and those guys have done very well. Now, how are the babies going? Everyone's asking, how are the babies going? The babies are doing well. In fact, here's one of the little guys right here. Yeah, they're doing well. These guys have got a great sense of adventure. And very similar. They're kept individually in a tub where they've got this bedding. They can burrow down, feel secure. And here they are. And you can see they're feisty little things. So they can get in there, burrow down, and feel very secure. And that's great for them. Nice heat spot, food, water, and I mean, what else could you want? You could almost ring a little bell, ding, 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 and the food will come to you. The other cool skinks that I keep, and I mean, are these guys here. Now, we've done some shows on these guys before, but more importantly, the blotched bluetongues really need to be out in the cold, because if they're not out in the cold, they're not going to do this. They're not going to reproduce and make more babies. And that's part of their breeding cycle, guys, making babies. So they need to go through that cooling cycle to help them to reproduce. Now, my other coolest skinks are these guys here. Now, they are a member of the bluetongue family now, that's right. They always used to be a slightly on the outside, so their old name used to be Trachydosaurus rugosa or rugosa asper. Now, absolute mouthful, and in fact, I would think I'm hunting down dinosaurs when I'm talking about Trachydosaurus, not hunting down one of these guys. So these guys have been reclassified as Tamiqua, just like all the other bluetongues. Now, they do have that bright blue tongue and that big, broad, bright blue tongue, which is absolutely amazing. Same features, short, stumpy legs, long, cylindrical-like body, but they have a weird sort of shaped tail, almost a cone-shaped tail. Got weird scales. Scales are enlarged. So the jury's a little bit out on me, I guess, on those guys. I'm really not really sold on the fact that they're bluetongues, I guess. Now, bluetongues are pretty awesome animals. You have to agree that they're awesome animals. Now, what makes them even better is some of the natural variation of colours. So, when we're looking at eastern bluetongues, here's a great example of of an eastern bluetongue. Now, as you can see, it's got these nice orange flashes on the side. Absolute gorgeous animal. And those nice olive hues on top. Absolutely amazing. Now, there's another one here. Oh. And check this guy out. He's got orange flashes and really dark on the back. So when we put these next to each other, and he's got a little bit more silver undertones. So yeah, look at that. That's pretty amazing, right? That's going to be amazing. I think they're amazing. Eastern bluetongues, or what the Americans like to call them is the eye bands, because they've got that dark eye band flash that runs down the side here. Absolute amazing little creatures. Now, obviously, you know, with everything these days, you can almost get them in all sorts of colours and patterns and shapes. You know, here's another cool Eastern. That's pretty awesome, right? And he's almost lacking the eye band. He's got his dark eyes, so that is almost an axanthic or an anathoristic animal. And low bands on it. Could also be a striped animal at its best, you know, that's pretty awesome. Now, check out the Chunkanoid. Now, these guys are kept in tubs. Inside, they're in a V70 tub. These tubs are nice and long and deep. Typically, I have paper on the bottom. I'm using this nice, fine hay on top because, you know, I don't like dust, and dust really gets up my snozzer. And then I put a piece of paper on top. But obviously, some people just trash the joint, unlike others. So typically it's like this. This guy's just trashed the joint. And there we are. There is a nice albino blue-tongued lizard. Look at that guy. Now that guy's about 7 years old, and he really knows how to trash up the joint. He's going to go back in there and destroy the place. Crazy, crazy little guy. Now, some of the other cool stuff that we're working with. I'll show you this one down here. And as you can see, they like to move to the back of the box to get on that heat. And there again, a nice white northern bluetongue. So these are a locality animal, and it turns out to be a straight recessive gene that proves to produce these nice white northerns, or what they're referring to as hypos. So hypo being reduction in black. Absolutely amazing. Another cool thing that we're working, well, I shouldn't say I'm working on, because I'm not working on them at all. I just keep some cool stuff. And these guys, a nice little melanistic. So the opposite of the hypo, a black bluetongue, absolute gorgeous little creature. Now, why do bluetongues make such great pets? Well, like I was saying before, they're a hardy species. You know, they don't typically need UV light because diet. So what we've found is with the diet, if we can vary the diet, in other words, you can give them salads, soft fruits, and all that sort of cool stuff, but also giving them things like cat or dog food, commercial cat and dog foods that are very high in vitamin D, and you know, they still need to have some access to UV light. Now, the best form of UV light is natural sunlight. So get them outside once in a while, get that sunlight in them, and you will see the difference in these animals. You'll see the strength, the size, the vigor, and when you feel them, you'll be able to feel the difference in them. You know, you'll be able to feel the strength and the power behind them. And if they typically start to feel a little bit like a floppy or a soft lizard, then I would say you need to get them outside a little bit more often than what you're doing. If you want to set them up in a vivarium, you can do that quite easily, giving them access to UV light. But there again, you've got to make sure that they don't get too much UV light, because too much UV light can be just as bad as not enough UV light at times and cause some serious issues. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the blue-tongued lizards. They're absolutely amazing, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't checked out some of my previous shows on my blue-tongued lizards, make sure you do. There's plenty to choose from, and there's even one on shinglebacks, guys. Now, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and make sure you give this show a like, guys, and I really appreciate your support. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching CrittaCam.